That's the first question. By shading the unwanted regions of the grid, find and label the region R that satisfies the following four inequalities. So ये आपके पास inequalities given है. If you can take a look at them down here. One, two, three, and four. Would you be able to help me identify where these regions exist on this grid? Perfect. So this is line x is equal to 3. But when the inequality sign says less than equals to 3, are we supposed to stay on the right of it or to the left of it? To the left of it. Let's do the next one. We're done with this. X is less than equals to 2. Line next to it, and are we supposed to stay on the right or to the left? Right. The next question says y is less than equals to 2x plus 1. How would you know which line they're talking about? Well, are you referring to this line? Perfect. How did you figure it out? Okay, so were you using the concept of slope, which is rise over run? Okay, okay, well done. An easier thing would be to just identify that c is equals to 1. What does c represent? Y intercept. Okay, intercept. Intercept rhymes with another word which is intersect. Intersect means to meet or cut at a certain point. So if two lines meet, they're gonna cut and cross each other. That's intersection point. But when we're talking about intercept, we're referring to where it cuts the y-axis or where it cuts the x-axis. Okay. So when we're talking about C as the y-intercept, we are referring to where the line cuts the y-axis. If it is cutting at the y-axis, if it is cutting at 1 on the y-axis, so this is the line. Are we supposed to stay above this line or below? Below, because it says y is less than equals to 2x plus 1. So I'm going to shade all the region that is below this line. The last one that we have is y is greater than equals to 4 minus x. Which line is this going to be? The line going through 4. I'll tell you why that is so. Now this has been arranged in a very weird order. It's 4 minus x. What if I were to rearrange it and write it like this? Minus x plus 4. Can I write it like this? Negative x plus 4. Because remember, the sign of a term is always written to the left of it. So this 4 can come over here with the positive sign, and this x can go on the left with the negative sign. So now if you take a look, this 4 is representing the y-intercept. So you successfully identified the correct line, that this is the one. And now are we supposed to stay above or below this line? Above the line. I should use a different color. Now the only tricky part that remains, Rida, is this thing shading the unwanted regions. Now the unwanted regions are the regions where all of the colors do not exist. What we can do is erase all the entire the area where all 4 colors are present. Where are all 4 colors present? Wouldn't this be the region where you see the entire set of colors? Right, this one. This thing do not shade this. This thing shade everything else and leave this white. Right? So what I'm going to do is pick up an eraser and erase this part. And now we're going to confirm whether our answer is correct. Okay? So here we go. Take a look. Does this match? Okay. They've also asked us to label it region R. We're gonna say it's R. You can help me solve this. This is where I'll try my best to correct your concept where you kind of not following the pattern or trend that examiners kind of looking forward to. Okay. How will we start off? What the first process is called combining like terms in such a question. I mean, there might be different versions of it. What I'll try to do is take 4x over there and 3 over here. In the process, take a good look. Whichever term is changing its position, if it's going from the left hand side to the right hand side, or vice versa, if it's going from the right hand side to the left hand side, it's gonna change its sign. So 4x is positive, it's gonna become negative. And what's gonna happen to the negative 3? It's gonna become positive, so it's gonna be 13 plus 3. Usually what you do in your working is you write it like this. Take a look. You will say plus 3 over here and plus 3 over here, and then in the next step you will say negative 4x over here, negative 4x over here. There's nothing wrong with that. That's technically correct, but what you're supposed to show in your working is something like this, what I've shown you in blue. 12x, take away 4x, we're left with 8x. 13 plus 3 is 16. Now if you remember, I asked you to follow the opposite of BODMAS. How do you get rid of the 8 right next to the x? divided by on both ends. X is less than equals to 2. Oops. That answer is x is greater than equals to 2. Our answer is x is less than equals to 2. Let's go and see what's wrong. Oh, I used the opposite sign. My bad. Question number 3. Almost there. 3n plus 5n or minus 5n? Minus 5n is greater than negative 5. Add 8 or take away 8? Add 8. So 3n minus 5n would give you negative 2n is greater than negative 7. What's the next step? Excellent. We're going to divide both sides with negative 2. This is where I have to share an important concept with you. So note this down. Do you know what a coefficient is? This guy is a coefficient over there, this number. So whenever a coefficient of the variable is negative, remember to change the greater than or less than symbol to its opposite sign, to its opposite symbol. I don't know if it makes much sense to you or not, but let me show you what I mean. Since I'm dividing both sides by negative 2, this greater than sign is supposed to become a less than sign. That's a rule. Does this make sense, Rida? What's the next step going to be? Can I cut this negative 2 out with this negative 2? And we left with n is less than, and how do I simplify the right hand side? 7 by 2. First of all, what I can do is I can cut out the negative signs. Right? One's in the numerator, the other one's in the denominator. And then I can write 7 by 2 as it is. But 7 by 2 is an improper fraction. How do I change that into a more presentable format in mathematics? Come again? A mixed fraction. You can either make it a mixed fraction, or you can pick up your calculator and just divide 7 by 2. If you use your calculator, it will be 3.5. That's the correct answer as well. Or you can write n is less than 3 whole 1 by 2. How did I get that? I'll write 7 inside and 2 outside. How many times does 2 fit into 7? 3 times. Now take a good look. This 3 starts the fraction over here. The remainder goes in the numerator. Now where does the divisor go, Rida? In the denominator. So if I were to draw a flow chart, this is what it would look like. 3 whole 1 by 2 goes in a clockwise manner. Is this making sense? Perfect. Let's keep on checking our answers. We messed up once again. We didn't read the question properly. Can you read the question? Find all the positive integers. Technically our answer is wrong, but there's one more condition to it. They're asking us to mention all the positive integers. How many positive integers do you see below 3.5? If I draw a number line, this is what it would look like, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right over here we've got 3.5. And the question asks us to stay below 3.5. So if I were to draw in a... do you have an answer? Shabash. These are all the positive integers below 3.5. I mean 0 is not positive, so our answer is going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. अब हमारा आंसर ठीक है. चलें. This is another type of question that I've added for you in this worksheet. I plan to give this... wait, hold on. Is this the same worksheet that I sent you? Okay. X is an integer and then you've got two different sets of inequalities. So what you'll do is solve this part first and this part afterwards. The one in orange. So why don't you help me solve the green part and I'll solve the orange part for you. So what's the first step? The first thing, Rida, what I'm going to do... wait, I'll solve the first part for you. You can solve the orange part. I'll break it down into two different parts and I'll write the green part again. Okay? I'll draw a line in between over here to divide it, and this is going to be your part. The one in orange. Okay? The first thing that we do is combine like terms. Like over here is different from a Facebook like button. Over here it means similar. Right? Similar terms are the terms which are alike or similar. So I'll try to take this negative 1 over there on the left hand side and make it add into negative 3. So negative 3 plus 1 is less than equals to 2x. Because on the right hand side I'm just leaving the 2x, I'm bringing the negative 1 on the left hand side and adding it to negative 3. Now negative 3 plus 1 gives us negative 2, less than equals to 2x. What I'll do is I'll divide with 2 on both sides. This 2 gets cut out or cancels out or gets divided by this 2, and we're left with 2 divided by 2 is negative, 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then we got a negative sign outside. X is greater than equals to negative 1. That's one part. Can you help me solve the other part of the inequality? What next? Beautiful. Now if I were to bring that number line down here, I mean you're not supposed to draw it every single time, but just to give you an idea of the concept, take a look. They're asking us to stay above this value, which is negative 1. How do I know that? Take a look over here. What I've just circled for you. Okay, I'm supposed to stay on the right of negative 1. And what number should I stop before? Nope. So I am supposed to go all the way from negative 1 and stop just a little before 2. Why ain't I touching 2? Excellent. Now the question says find the values of x, and x, what is x? X is an integer. Find the values of x, and what is x? X is an integer. It's not a decimal, it's not a fraction, it's not a fraction, it's not a decimal, it's let's for the sake of understanding just say whole number, but whole number is something else. It's complete numbers. It's negative 1, negative 0, 1. It can't be 1.1, 1.2. So what numbers are you going to mention? Are you with me, Rida? Minus 1, 0 and 1. Let's go and check your answer. Perfect. Minus 1, 0, 1. Here we go. We're back to a graphing question. And that's straight out of your course. Y is less than equals to negative half x plus 6. So I'll highlight all the inequalities that we're given. 1, 2, and 3. First of all, how are we going to identify which line represents which inequality? Sorry, which equation? Because inequalities represent regions and equations represent lines. Excellent. Good job. Good job. Since you see a y-intercept of 6, this is the y-intercept of 6. So you're going to say this orange line is this equation down here. I know I'm calling it an equation, however it's an inequality, but whenever you're trying to identify a line, you're supposed to refer to an equation. Whenever you start shading a region, that's where you are referring to an inequality. So technically I should write it down like this: y is equals to negative half x plus 6, and I should shade this, sorry, highlight this in orange, right? Now let's do the second inequality. This one is already taken, so y is equal to 3x minus 4. Which line does this represent? Remember, y is equal to mx plus c. The foremost thing that you're supposed to look for is the last number. The one going to minus 4. You're just left with one more equation to go, and x plus y is equals to 5. Although we're only left with one line, so you can identify this. But what's important is for you to know that agar ye had it not been the first line, how would you do it then? You're right, but you're supposed to rearrange it a little bit. Y is equals to, take the x over there, what will it become? That's a 5. Y is equals to negative x plus 5. Now you can see that it's in this format: y is equal to mx plus c. The value of c is 5, the value of m is no, x is over there as it is. -1. Whenever you do not have a number right next to the x, remember it's always 1. Since the negative was with the x, so that's gonna get stuck with the 1. So m is equal to -1 and c is 5. So if I were to color code this in yellow, you got all three equations now. Now we can erase this. Let's not erase this. Now let's try to shade region. Are you supposed to stay above the orange line or below? Below. Here we go. That's just below the orange line. Are we supposed to stay towards the right of? Then let's talk in terms of above or below. Are we supposed to stay above the green line or below? Above. Above, because it says greater than. Last, are we supposed to stay below the yellow line or above? Rida, we're done with the shading part, but now one more technical detail to go. We're saying shading the unwanted regions. Unwanted regions are the regions where you do not see all three colors. For that, it's easier to just identify the regions where you do see all three colors. Where do you see all three colors? Wouldn't this be the region, Rida? I'll erase the red highlighted part and try to spot it. In this region that I just highlighted a little while ago, don't you see green, don't you see orange, and don't you see yellow as well? Right? So what you'll do is you'll pick up an eraser now and simply erase this part. Right? By shading the unwanted regions of the grid, final label the region R that satisfies the three inequalities. Where do I write R? In the triangle. Let's see if this is correct. Okay, this time around they haven't given us the answer, they're just saying R identified correctly, but I'm pretty sure what we've done is correct. Find the largest value of x plus y in the region R where x and y are integers. What is x and y referring to? X simply refers to the x coordinate, y refers to the y coordinate. So this is the region R. Let's say if I were to take this point, what's the x coordinate over here? It's 2. Right? What's the y coordinate over here? 4. If I add them together, what's the answer? 6. 6. Find the largest value of x plus y inside. If I were to stay inside this region R, would you say 6 is the biggest value that's possible? Let's try all of the variations. We have. Wait, are we supposed to stay inside the region? Rida, what do you think? When the inequality has this small sign over here, are we just supposed to stay inside the region, or can we also consider the points which are on the line? On the line. So this is an integer. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. This one too. What else? This one, this, and this. Rida, why wouldn't I take this point? This purple one. Not an integer. Okay. Now, which one of these red dots, when added together, would give us the biggest number? here you go. G. Right? 2 and 5 gives us 7. Let's see if this is correct. Yep, there you go. We got 7 as our answer. Since classes started at 4:15, so I'm gonna give you another 5 minutes. Let's do this last question, which is question number 6. Find the other 3 inequalities. There are 4 inequalities that define the shaded region R. One of them is given. I'll highlight that for you. Find the other 3 inequalities. Are you referring to this one? Yep, perfect. That's y is equals to 1.5. Can you tell me where this, if I would write this as an equation, where is this line? The one that cuts the y-axis at 1. ठीक है, ये हो गई. You're done with. I'm gonna put a check mark next to the lines that you're done with. We are supposed to go ahead with 2 more lines. Okay, let's try to remember what our equation looks like. The equation is y is equal to mx plus 6. Right? C represents the y-intercept. So that I know is 3. Now all I'm supposed to do is figure out the value of m. For that, I'll take 2 random points. And for sake of ease, let's just take points which happen to be complete integers. So I'll choose this one, 2, 3, and I'll choose this one, 0, 3. I can label this one as x2 and this one as y2. This is x1 and this is y1. What is the formula for the gradient? y2 minus y1 divided by x2 take away x1. How much is y2? Let me fix this point. I accidentally wrote it wrong. This is 2, 2. G, y2 is 3, y1 is 2. How much is x2? How much is x1? 3 minus 2 is 1. 0 take away 2 is negative 2. I can go back and complete my equation to look like negative 1 by 2x plus 3. So your equation for this line is y is equal to negative 1 by 2x plus 3. We're left with one more line to go, and that's not a dotted line. What you're giving me is an inequality. Before we go on into the inequalities, let's try to figure out the equation. So let's use the same method and write y equals to mx plus c. Now we're solving for this line, right? What's the y-intercept of this line? Zero. Perfect. Y is equal to mx plus 0. Now can you, and we can also erase that. I mean, c doesn't have any value, so we get just left with y is equal to mx. Can you help me find out the value of m? I mean, I just used the process for the dotted line. Can you do the same process for this line? Take 2 points which happen to be integers. So let me erase the previous working. So you just asked me to take 4 and 3. What are the point? Two and 1.5 happens to be valid point, but you can choose another one which is far easier. 0, 0. Now Rida, can you help me find out the value of m? Yes? Three minus 0, 4 minus 0. We will left with 3 by 4. This 3 by 4 can get plugged in over here, and we are going to say it's, hold on, y is equals to 3 by 4x. You just figured out the equation for this line, right? Let me use a separate color. Here we go. Y is equal to 3 by 4x. Right, it is all the unnecessary working. Do not do that in exam. I just want to show you the equations that we are supposed to work with. Here are the 4 equations that we're supposed to work with. Now the question says there are 4 inequalities that define the region R. This is the region R. We've got those equations. Now we're supposed to convert them into inequalities. So Rida, if I were to ask you the equation for the dotted line, you already have that. Are we supposed to stay below that line to enter the shaded region R, or are we supposed to stay above it? Below it. Y is less than negative half x plus 3. Notice how I change the is equals to sign to a less than sign. Can you give me an inequality for this? Are we supposed to stay above this line to enter the shaded region R, or stay below? above. Y is greater than equals to 1.5. Now why did I not choose an is equals to sign over here? It's a dotted line. Remember we discussed in the first lesson, whenever we have a dotted line, we are not, dotted line represents that we're not supposed to include it in the shaded region. Okay? If it's a solid line, we're supposed to put an is equals to sign, because that's when we're supposed to include it in the shaded region. Otherwise, we're not supposed to include it in the shaded region. Okay. We have two inequalities now. One more inequality to go. By the way, they've already given us this one, so we can write this again. But this doesn't count because they've given this in the question. This is the third one. Are we supposed to stay above this line or below this line to enter the shaded region R? Above. Y is greater than equal to 3 by 4x.